So this is the second part of my video on Louis. I recommend that you watch the first part before going on. Here's the link. So in case you stumbled in here without watching the first part, I'm going to give a spoiler warning for everything beyond the Murder Solution arc. So like chapters 98 to the current chapter that the manga's on, which I'm not going to say because as I work on these videos, usually multiple chapters come out. Also, if I sound nasally, it's because I got sinus surgery about a week before I recorded this, so yeah, I'm still recovering. With that out of the way, where did we leave off again? Oh, fuck. I think it's time to reveal the truth behind Ibuki's death. It was a suicide. It's been said in the story that felines can sense when their death is near. They can't tell how, why, or when it will happen, they just know that it will. A little while before the Shishigumi went out for New Year's, Ibuki sensed that he was going to die. He didn't know why he had this feeling until the answer hit him. He thought to himself, what was the one thing that would be worth dying over? Louis. He told Free to shoot him if he tried anything stupid. Ibuki wasn't going to actually eat Louis, he was just trying to provoke one of two things. The first was for Louis to put him out of his misery, and the second was to create a situation that looked like he was going to eat Louis. There was no way that Free was able to tell that Ibuki was faking his threats towards Louis. Between the dark tunnel and the death lunge, Ibuki provoked the latter and died at the hands of Free.
Ibuki's pretty clumsy in some ways, you know. He's inflexible.
Louis was broken. He realized that Ibuki never intended to eat him, and Ibuki committed the most elaborate suicide since Danganronpa 2 because of him. And that is why he had to go on and save Legoshi from dying to Riz. Louis reverted back to his old self again and realized that no matter what he did, he would always be weak and always be the reason for death and violence. He couldn't take that fact anymore, and that's why when he decided to go and support Legoshi, he had a death wish in mind for himself.
I'm sorry.
Don't be, but you'll probably die if you try to fight him while you're barely able to stand. I don't want to see another dear friend of mine die. The fawn inside me is still crying in his cage. I'll break you out. You're free now. You're not weak anymore. Eat me, Legoshi. I'll give you the strength to fight.
What?
Eat my right foot now, before you go out and fight.
But I trained so I could get strong without having to eat meat.
You've reached the limits of your strength and you know it. No more pretensions. I'll make you drool, alright? Now hurry.
What's that number on your foot? I thought my ideals to be unwavering. I thought this act to be a taboo.
It's my curse.
But now it feels like a ritual. It's enough to awaken my fangs.
Break my curse, Legoshi.
I swear that I won't let this be in vain.
The way that the Murder Solution arc concludes is that Legoshi uses the strength he inherited from Louis' leg to defeat Riz. Then he gets arrested, and then receives a criminal record, and then becomes a predatorial offender. While Louis gets a prosthetic leg and goes back to school scot-free from being a gang leader. I had a lot of mixed feelings on this ending. Again, I find when I binge something, I tend not to appreciate every little event that happens and get overloaded with information that takes some time to process. I recently binged all of Gurren Lagann, and a lot of stuff happens in it. Because I absorbed the whole series at once, the presence of the show in each individual episode didn't linger in my mind for that long, and I felt slightly indifferent about everything. Now giving it a whole week and letting everything sit, I find that I really enjoyed the show, and I feel that going back and watching it, I could appreciate the hype it builds up even more now. That's what happened with me in the Murder Solution arc as a whole. I binged the whole second half of it on a night where I was overtired and didn't really process everything correctly. I felt that Louis getting his right leg bitten off 87 style was a coward-like move for him and that he should have kept it and learned to live with his past and grow from it. I felt that Legoshi getting penalized even though he was fighting in the right was wrong, and Louis consenting to Legoshi's predation would render him safe from punishment. After I let it linger in my mind for a bit, I realized the meaning of the events at the end of the arc, and really the series as a whole. There's really no hero in Beastars, while there's also not exactly a villain in it either. They're all just people living life. People in life have opposing views, and some are just more adamant about imposing them on other people than others. No one just goes out of the way and says, I want to be the bad guy. Because in their point of view, they're the ones in the right. Louis did many terrible things as the leader of the Shishigumi, but does that make him a bad person? Does he deliberately go out of the way and say, I'm super excited to commit murder today? No, that's not how Peru's unique writing style works. I somewhat have a veil of predictability that I expect when it comes to reading stories. So many writers fall into the same trend of writing the same type of character archetypes over and over. I just begin to kind of be like, well, that character has opposing ideals to our protagonist, so that automatically means that from now on they're going to be portrayed as completely evil psychopathic monsters. Beastars made me drop that mentality completely when reading it because I realized something. Lugosi, Louis, Riz, none of them are in the right. They're all just people fighting for what they believe in. What I expected, because most stories go like this, is that Louis would just have some mini arc going like, my past plagues me, but I'll learn to live with the mark on my foot. But that's what the character archetype Louis gives off would do, not what Louis himself would do. Sure, a typical story would go that way, but Louis was not written to be like a typical character. He's just some guy living life. Not everyone has the same solution to a problem. Louis' solution to his past was to get rid of his right foot. It may not be what many people would have done in that situation, but Louis is Louis, and that was the most satisfying solution for him. So if you were like me and were indifferent on the ending of the Murder Solution arc, think of it this way. Beastars is a story about characters just living life and satisfying their direct needs. Even though Beastars very much has a plot, it's still about life and people. People make drastic decisions on a whim, and sometimes very unexpected things could happen. This solution is what Louis wanted for himself. It may have been really crazy, but that's just the style of Beastars. It's like Kira and the ambulance. It's a bizarre way of a main villain dying, but that's the style of JoJo's bizarre adventure. So now moving past all that, something that I saved for this video, because it's more relevant in the current arc that we're on, is the romance between Louis and Juno.
This is taking a while.
I'm sorry. Let's forget that ever happened.
Alright, I'll forget about it.
Oh, wait. Why do you want to forget about that? That was my first kiss.
Because you told me to. What? That was your first kiss? Calm down. I'm painfully aware of how emotional and forceful you wolves can be. You only kissed me because you wanted the satisfaction of being a compassionate wolf to a herbivore amputee. But you're already nice the way you are. There's nothing wrong with you. This discussion is over.
Why would you say that? That hurts.
That's because I'm trying to hurt you. I'm not saying that you deliberately thought that way as you kissed me. It was your unconscious mind. Nothing good can come from this. Interspecial romance causes so much trouble. Even though Lugosi is in love with a rabbit, he's still trying to find a way to forge his own path in life. Brash males like him are a rarity. I don't want you to become a misfit of society, Juno. See you. Good luck with school.
It may seem that Louis cut off Juno's love entirely, but as we see in later chapters, he reluctantly tries to give her a chance. He's still very hesitant because he's worried about how society will view Juno. Also, remember from my first video on Louis about how I mentioned that he has a fiancée? Well, in this arc, we get to meet her and see how Louis fares with her. Not well. Look, ever since his time at the Shishigumi and him losing his right leg, he's lost all of his antagonistic feelings towards carnivores, and herbivores actually make him uncomfortable now. We haven't gotten too much more screen time from Louis x Juno except, this. But we'll see how it continues in the next arc. Something to point out, though, that didn't change about Louis is his tendency to put on an act and play too much into it. The whole faked act about playing a herbivore amputee thing that Louis was putting on began to become real. Louis' new issue was that he was beginning to assume what other people thought of him. He felt that he could no longer trust if people were honest or not because for all he knows, they're just pitying him for losing his leg. The case is usually that they're just legitimately wanting to be nice to Louis because that's their personality. I mean, there are some people that do tease him for it, but that's when he takes Ibuki's advice on how to disable a carnivore and goes full-on Super Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann on them. Okay, I'm sorry, I'll stop referencing Gurren Lagann now. But yeah, most people don't tease him for it, but because only a couple people did, it got into his head that everyone thinks that way, which is wrong on his part. Oh, speaking of Ibuki, well, more like the Shishigumi, I wonder what they're doing. By their code, they always have to have a boss, so who do they get to replace Louis? Oh god.
Alright. While your master was gone, were all you kitties behaving well?
You came here earlier than we expected, boss.
Yeah, well, had to leave early, ran into some trouble. Night masquerade business got snooped, pissed me off like nothing else, but Oh well. It was all okay after I shot the guy who was keeping me.
He doesn't look like a herbivore or a carnivore. What is he?
How does a half-baked screw-up do a steak? You guessed it. Medium rare. My body doesn't do well with meat at all, but hey, I'll eat this in your stead.
No doubt about it. He's a carnivore-herbivore hybrid.
Really can't eat this though. This food is for wretched beasts. No wonder you guys drool all over it. Oh well, I guess I have to use a few tricks to eat it. Alright. This is edible. Flavor's kinda weird though. Like I don't even know what I'm eating. What do I know? Your greedy eyes make the best spice.
What a waste of high quality steak.
Huh? Wait, please.
What?
Eating meat while knowing the species it belongs to is the minimum etiquette at the back alley market.
There's etiquette in eating meat, eh? I had no idea. Let's try it out. Agata-kun the Congo lion, 26 years old, the youngest member of the Shishigumi. A boring young lion who likes to show off his cringe-worthy shallow morals. Hey, expressing your sentiments while stabbing someone with a fork, it doesn't feel too bad.
This scene right here is a scene that I find so unsettling. I don't want to go too much into it though, because guess what? Melon's the next video, so yeah, I'll talk about it then. Anyway, the significance of this scene is that it drags Louis into the overarching conflict of the Revenge of the Love Failure arc. Lugosi is pursuing Melon for the two reasons of to get rid of his criminal record and for the fact that he's a canine, and when they start something, they're devoted to finishing it. Louis is now pursuing Melon because of his mistreatment of the Shishigumi. Remember how in the first video I said that an arc always ends with Lugosi and Louis teaming up to take down the antagonist of the arc? Well, as of the more recent chapters, the two have reunited again. As we've seen from each of those times, crazy things have happened for the two characters. In chapter 158 though, Peru teased something huge, something that spells out how the whole series is going to end.
Let's team up to capture Melon. We can do it together.
A ragtag duo of an ex-convict wolf and a one-footed deer? What are you talking about? This is a job for the Beastar. We can't do it ourselves.
You're right, neither of us are the Beastar. We're not aiming for that. We may be just a ragtag duo, but if it's the two of us, if it's the Beastars.
I've never heard of that before. What kind of word is that? Don't just make up a plural form.
You know that feeling when something does a name drop in a powerful way? Well yeah, that's how this scene felt when reading it for the first time. We really don't know if this will be the final arc or not because of Peru only wanting there to be 20 or so volumes, so with that in mind, I think all of Louis' issues are going to be solved at the end of this arc. Him becoming the Beastar will be a fitting ending for him. He's always strived for power, and he knew that being the boss of the Shishigumi was the wrong way of going about it. He didn't want to become the Beastar because he felt that society was too corrupt to fix. But now that he realized that if society could accept a herbivore-loving wolf as their Beastar, and there's still hope. I'm super excited to see how the Revenge of the Love Failure arc will end. Now that we covered someone on the protagonist side of this arc, I think it's time to cover the opposing view, Melon. I want to say thank you and give credit to all the voice actors who voiced in this video, but one specific shout out that I have is Connor Baumgartner. You know that song that was playing in the Melon voiceover section of my video? Yeah, Connor composed that. He's going to be scoring the Melon video and several other of my videos coming up. I put a link to his website in the description. I really hope you check him out. He's really talented. Anyway, after 2 months, the saga on covering Louis has come to a close. In between this video and the Melon video, I might have a special video coming. It's going to be a video of me recommending a manga that I really like. I'm not sure how much time I have, but I'm pretty sure I will have enough time to release it in the middle of this month. It's not going to interfere with my schedule with the Melon video at all, so don't worry about that. And the last thing is, feel free to join my Discord server. The link to it is in the description. If you want to chat about Beastars, JoJo, honestly, whatever, yeah, I'd be down to chat. Anyway, I'll see you at the Melon video.